Hello everyone, it's Jaden for Student Pages. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we have another artist spotlight interview for you guys. We are here with Crispin BURTON. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm great. Thank you for having me. Yeah, really excited to be here.
Excellent to hear. It's a pleasure to have you. So, if you could just give the people at home a rundown as to the background of how you got into the music industry and why you chose to go this way.
Sure. So everybody in my family is a musician. I sang as a chorister at Gloucester Cathedral for 8 years of my life as a little wee babby. So that sort of forced me into that world of more choral music and having experience of singing on BBC Radio as a child and doing all these things with huge orchestras. And that sort of kickstarted everything. Went through GCSEs and was tasked to write a song. I wrote a song about my little sister and I sort of wrote it and was actually quite impressed and sort of just let that take its fate and carry on. It just sort of progressed from there. Got to a stage in my life where I had a few different songs and started getting into the studio and started meeting people, networking and whatnot, and released my first debut single, Lover Lover, which is a sort of rock pop ballad. I think there's a bit of Robbie influence in there.
So, your most recent success then was winning the Casio Sessions competition. How does it feel to have won that, and what drew you to apply for it in the first place?
Someone, I can't remember who, and I feel bad, but someone sent it to me just on Instagram, and I was like, well, I'm going to be applying for everything and anything I can see online. Just applied for it. And yeah, just got glowing feedback from my entry. Yeah, what an honor, what a pleasure to go to this event. I haven't played loads in London. It's something I'm doing more and more. This year is definitely more about that. So going to London by myself, a one-man team, and just getting there, realizing I was first up, which wasn't is never ideal, but it gets out the way and the nerves is gone. It's done then. Yeah, it was just a nice little like solo adventure. And to go there by myself, be first up, meet so many good singer-songwriters. Like there's so much talent in that one room. It was mental. And then for them to call my name with all these amazing people, I'm like, yeah, it really was. It was a really lovely experience. And the whole Casio team and everyone, so lovely and have been so good to me. So, yeah, very, very grateful for that. This whole experience. Yeah, definitely.
No, absolutely. And again, congratulations. It takes, I'm sure, an immense amount of talent to actually win a competition like that. I mean, would you say it's propelled your career then?
Yeah, I think so. I think what's really nice is obviously an established brand like Casio. It gives me a bit of a qualification, as it were. I'm not that terrible. I've got something to my name. I can go and flex this one, on
Hey,
a
look
little
at
screen.
that.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Wow.
So I was a bit overwhelmed with that, to be honest, but
That'll be a benchmark forever for you, won't it?
absolutely, yeah. And there are certain stages in well any career where you can go, oh, really, like that's going on the wall. That's a moment. And there's been a few of those, which is nice, but this is definitely one where I can, have a physical thing and go, well done me, which is really nice.
No, absolutely. A constant reminder, I guess. So, we already slightly touched on your music and the genre that you describe it as, but winning a competition like this, you're evidently doing something different, something original. So, what would you say makes your music stand out particularly?
I think the biggest there are two things I'd say. I think not everybody is chorally trained or classically trained. I think that influence in my life has come across into the way I play piano, my writing, the way I sing. And I think it sounds quite pretentious, but I think having gone through that, which was morning before school, go to school, afternoon after school, and then a service every day, Saturdays, Sundays, two services on a Sunday, a constant, a job outside of a job is, I'll forever be grateful because that's helped with my work ethic. And I was working full time as a videographer whilst doing my music career and released two songs whilst doing that. Now it's come to a point where I can actually balance it out and work for myself. And then number two, I'd say I think just the way I write is completely from within, especially for my I say earlier stuff like I haven't only released two songs. The earlier stuff I've written is actually some of my best because I think there's a certain authenticity to being a sort of slightly depressed teenager that I couldn't quite express to anyone or didn't feel the need to like chat to anyone about. And my place was just letting my heart scream on whatever it is. And I think that's where If You Hear My Voice, which is the song that won the competition, that's where for me, clearly that came across.
As someone who's listened to one of your tracks, it definitely does come across very well in your music. We touched briefly earlier on family and that, it's been a very constant process in that everyone in your family has had some involvement with music. And you told me earlier that one of your songs was written about your little sister.
Mm.
How have the people in your life inspired you to get to where you are? Have they been supportive of the entire process, given their own backgrounds? How's that been?
For sure. I think it's interesting actually because I almost feel like I've ticked off one career being a videographer. I've got where I need to get with video production, which is such a position to be in, and I'm grateful for that. But I have worked really hard for it. But I think the transition going from full-time working as a videographer to going part-time to then completely quitting at the start of this year. I think that was probably the most where there was a part where it's like, well, I've got a safe job, I've got an income, I've got a job I like, I'm in a privileged position. Why would I go and just throw that away? And I think there was, internal conversations in my own head and, just with family and whatnot. And I think the biggest thing was as soon as I went from full-time to part-time, I gained about 30,000 followers on
Whoa.
Instagram. It was only one video that did it for me. And ironically, it was a video about the 2 days into college viral, 2 days into college. That went viral. So I did a version saying 2 days in the office, and that just went crazy.
Oh, okay.
There's a little bit of irony there, but yeah, it just proved to me that that it was the right decision, even just to go from full time to part time, committing that much more to having freedom of time. But of course, in terms of my family supporting me, I'm hugely lucky to have a family that firstly put me in the cathedral. It helps that my brother was there and my dad was there, so there was us three singing in the choir.
It is nice to have that backing.
I definitely had to earn my backing from quitting my job. That was it. And I think as soon as I quit fully and being freelance, just things went a lot. Like I'd never made so much money in 1 month. I know that's not to sound arrogant. It's just to say, like, I've made such a big commitment, and I was fully prepared to say, I'm gonna be broke. I'm gonna be a broke musician. I'm gonna graft my ass off to get to a point where I can live through music. Yeah, I was fully accepting I was just going to be broke and just getting by, and it just went crazy as soon as I quit, which has just been amazing because now I can afford to invest into my music properly, which is the next sort of stage of Crispin.
One thing I do want to touch on, because you mentioned to me that you feel you're only getting started, but we always like to talk about online criticism and bullying. And have you had any sort of exposure to that, I suppose? Especially given you had a viral video, like you mentioned earlier. Those are usually subject to some sort of
Yeah, absolutely.
keyboard warriors.
That whole thing of online criticism, I do have this thing in the back of my head that's like, oh no, I've just spent a day working on this video and I feel bad because this person didn't like this little thing. And at the end of the day, I think I'm still in such an early position to feel like I've had hate, as it were. I mean, there's always a comment or whatnot, but it doesn't really bother me. Yeah, I find it more interesting than anything.
So we touched on, well, you mentioned actually earlier that a lot of your music, the inspiration was drawn from being a depressed teen. Have you had any like run-ins with mental health problems? And if so, where did they stem from and how did you handle them? And did it make its way into your music in some form, like you mentioned?
Yeah, for sure. I think every teenager has a period where it's just not figured out yet. There's so much development and learning in those stages where you think you're an adult and but you're still not there. And there's so much going on where I think it looks like I was pretty damn depressed in 2000 whatever, but I don't necessarily remember it at the time, which I think is a pretty interesting concept. And actually, that might be a song idea there.
I want credit now. I want credit. I
Yeah,
gave you the idea.
get some points
Writing
on.
this down, writing this down. I am getting royalties. I
Yeah,
am
yeah.
getting them.
I love it. I love it. And I think now what's interesting is I'm co-writing and, meeting a lot more people and whatnot. Writing with different people brings us such a different dynamic for someone who's written for 6, 7, however many years by themselves. And it's always been up to me. And it's like, well, I like it, so it goes. That's something I've definitely struggled with in terms of creative outlook and, really truly being able to form my own opinion. I think the past year or two has been a bit of a journey of going, oh, I need to get this approved by everybody else I know, family, friends, and different industry people. And then there's this thing of like, right, tick, tick. Oh no, but this person didn't like this thing, and that changes my opinion. And now I don't know actually what I think about my own thing that I've written. Well, I nearly released a song probably about 8 months ago. I'm glad it is put on hold, but it was put on hold, but now it's still coming out. But it's that thing of doing it at the right
Good.
time. But that is sort of my thing at the minute, is just fully trusting and forming my own opinion.
Giving me a really detailed response there because I think I've said this a lot when people have told me similar stories, but I will stand by the fact that I think it takes a very strong-minded and creative person to turn something like what you told me was really quite traumatic, to be honest. That sounds like an awful situation to have been in, but having the ability to turn that into something so beautiful is such an immense talent and an amazing outlet as well to have because not everyone has that, and I suppose it's such a gift, to have that creative outlet. I think it's really great that you managed to find that. We spoke about it a tiny bit. We keep touching on all my questions before we get to them. You're swindling me here. But social media, how would you describe your relationship with social media, and what advice do you have on building a career in music using it as a tool?
Yeah, it's like a love-hate relationship, honestly. Like what is interesting for my story, I guess, like as a professional videographer, I've got that side of video production. So it's like, well, actually I can use music and video, put them together and then, have more sort of, I guess, like higher quality videos that take longer to make. I think the thing is with social media, it's I've had a few videos that have blown up, but I always look at the past and go, oh, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? It's so easy to go like that. As I was saying earlier, it's like if you have the right intention and you're willing to work hard enough, then social media is only a tool to pursue your career, I guess. It's only in aid of. I guess if social media is the sort of thing you want to do, and for me it definitely is as well. I've been a YouTuber my whole life. I made some crazy videos back in there, but I do like being in front of the camera. I also like being behind the camera. So it's for me, I'm lucky that my passion is video and music. That is literally what social media is.
And you're so lucky with the YouTube as well that you actually made content with you in it that people liked. Because when you get yourself stuck making videos on a minion game made for children for 11 years, it starts to drive you a bit crazy. So you should thank yourself lucky you didn't end up doing that.
My first ever experience of having a viral video was on YouTube. It got 1.3 million views. I was 12 or 13, and it was the time where the condom challenge was popular. You fill a condom with water, you drop it in your head and someone else's head, and that was the whole thing.
Oh, yes, I
So
remember.
I
Mhm.
was pursuing trying to do that, and I ordered them on Amazon, and I had a friend coming over to come and film a video, and then the condoms didn't arrive in time. And God, this sounds so bad.
Now you got to finish it now. I'm listening.
I
I'm
got,
locked in.
yeah. And I was like, right, I'm 12 years old. I've got these Johnnies. How can I make the most of it? So I set up my camera. I was going to do an unboxing video, some LED light strips. And I just acted completely naive. And the title was Kid Finds Condoms in Amazon Package. And yeah, it just absolutely blew up. Like I made like a grand off it as like a 12-year-old, and then I invest, and that's another thing as well. I'd saved up for ages to get my first proper DSLR, Canon 700D, and as soon as I bought it, the first video I filmed on it was that.
No way.
And I
That's
think,
nuts. Wait, so you knew that they were in the box and you staged it for the video? You genius. You
marketing,
absolute
marketing.
genius.
It's great. I
It's
wish I could do
unreal.
that now and just do that on every video. But
Oh, it's a
it's
different space these days.
different
People will call
space.
you out, call it clickbait.
But this is the thing. So I've had that was my sort of first viral experience, and it's crazy that that video that I've posted, the 2 days in the office version song I did, that was the first video on YouTube Shorts I posted, and that got like 8 million views, and I got like 50,000 subscribers from it, and like going back to me as like a 13-year-old thinking that I'd have 50,000 subscribers on YouTube when I was trying to be a YouTuber, that thought I'm still working towards that 100K plaque. That is still on the cards. I want it right there or right
How
there.
far off are you now?
I'm still, oh well, I'm 50, I don't even know, 54 something. So I've still got a long way to go. Yeah, I think in terms of social media, it is just a game. And I think you've just got to, you do have to play the game, but also just make sure you're like actually enjoying what you're doing. Cause, and it's the cliche thing, but like if you're not enjoying, like today I've spent all of my day editing, got back from Madrid. So I vlogged that whole thing for my birthday, and I spent all of today editing that vlog, and I took a break outside. I was just like, it's such a good thing I'm enjoying what I'm doing right now, because it's so easy for me not to go back in that room and continue edit. But because I'm editing footage that I enjoy and I think it's funny and I think it's translating, I'm essentially just watching YouTube before it's been uploaded. So I think that's the main thing, enjoying it. And another thing is like finding your niche. That's another big thing. And I did the version of different songs, and that works for one song. Tried it, kept trying it with other different songs. Didn't quite have the same response, but I think there's definitely a world where I can go and do my own version of a different song and it not be side of what I am. But at the same time, there's social media artists that they just sing covers and that's what they're known for because they've got an incredible voice. But I think there's more to it than just that. And I think just having that understanding and balancing that and going, and this is what I'm going through at the minute, like what and who do I want to look like on social media? Because I just want to upload vlogs of me going around the world making music. That's like dream, and posting the music, doing a vlog, tour vlog. And it sounds like I just want to be a vlogger. It's not. I do like music, I promise. But I think now I've come out of the corporate world, I'm now finding that I can be myself.
So be authentic, play the game, in essence.
Play that
Absolutely.
game. Yeah.
So harking back to music then, how important would you say it is to find people in the industry that are doing what you do? Would you say that those relationships are important, or do you not really think everyone needs them?
It depends. I think network is net worth, 100%. And that's not just for, meeting other songwriters. That's, getting into industry events that are more A&R led, and just people and just meeting people and meeting session musicians. There's so many things that I can't do in the studio, and having someone that has seen me live, they already understand the world that I'm in. So I think that's an important thing. But as well, I've been to a few networking events these past couple of months, and the people I've met has just been just crazy, just from being there and just talking and networking and proving myself a little bit. There was an event that Charlie Roxburgh put on called the Connective. Super, super good event. First one I went to, the first one he put on. Loads of cool people there, YouTubers, influencers, streamers, musicians, loads of people. And I turned up just on my own again, solo mission. Took my camera, just grabbed loads of snaps just to send to Charlie. And yeah, I didn't have any intention. I just wanted to meet people and do a favor and do whatever. And then he asked me to play on the next one.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah, so then I played on the next two gigs of the Connective, and being able to play to the people that I'd met a couple months before and just say, well, actually, like I do this as well. I met Angus Parkin, Goose, as he's referred to, incredible songwriter, and he performed at the first one. And we've had a few writing sessions now. I have a big, big project coming this year, and it's going to be the biggest project of my life, and I truly believe it's going to change my life. So if you're excited for new music and good vibes, then follow along, because soon enough there will be some music from me to you.
Absolutely amazing. Beautiful. Well, thank you very much, Crispin, and I do wish you the very best of luck with everything. Been a wonderful chat. Congratulations again on the Casio Sessions win.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely anytime. Thank you.